Ladies and gentlemen, you know what this is. We don't even have to tell you.
I'm good anyways. It's a review. I got him.
What kind of review?
A fight stick review. You didn't see that coming, did you? Not
That's
from
crazy.
this channel, not from these guys.
No, that's crazy. You know the drill here. We're going through the lineup of the Qanba sticks that was sent to us by Qanba Claws back, in January, or December, whatever. And now we are taking a look at the crystal. We unboxed that in the last video that you can look at right there, and the little thing that pops up there. And here we are. We've had some hands-on time, and we're ready to tell you what we think.
So we haven't really rushed to these because these have been on market for a little bit. So we're really taking our time with these reviews, make sure that we're not coming across anything that would, potentially be a problem for somebody else later on. So this one has been used and abused by Boss Battle Gordy.
Yep, this one we gave to Boss Battle Gordy, so he's had the most hands-on time. But
we both had hands-on time ourselves with it as well. So I have to say, at the price point, it's $149
and 99 cents.
And 99 cents.
Which in some ways would be $150.
Right. If you round up, right? And that's US American dollars. Okay, American dollars we got there.
Yep.
And I would have to say, even looking at just the aesthetics, pulling out of the box, feeling it, playing with it, we've got ourselves a value.
I think that you're right.
Yeah.
Let's just jump right into the brass tacks here. Let's talk about build quality.
Right.
Same old song and dance with the rest of the Qanba lineup, right? We've got your standard 2-pound string. Am I wrong?
Oh, just stock spring on there.
Stock spring, and we've got the Qanba buttons.
Right. So that's
LED
the big
buttons.
distinction from the other sticks that we've reviewed so far, is that in the Dragon and the Obsidian, they replaced those with Sanwa buttons. These have their own proprietary button, which is built by them, Qanba, 8 there. And that's what is in place here with an LED light that goes around it. Right, so probably a lot of people right off the bat are like, they're not Sanwa, it's not for me. I disagree. And
actually I think that Qanba makes really good buttons. I think they're very comparable to Sanwa's.
And I feel like they were kind of shocking. And I'll tell you why, because when I first purchased my Hori stick, actually he purchased for me as a gift.
Oh,
Love
it was
this
your
guy.
first stick.
It was, I still love it.
We buy each other shit.
But it came with the Kuro button. And the Kuro buttons, I thought, were just trash. Like, they were really low quality, they were kind of loose. I mean, you could almost shake the stick and it would cause the button to go off, and not in a good way.
Right.
They replaced the Kuros now with the Hayabusa button, but at the time I replaced it with Sanwa's, and I was like, this is a huge upgrade. I didn't have that experience here. Playing with this, I was like, these feel good. They sound a little different.
Yep.
Because Sanwa does have a very distinct sound tone. Yep. But the buttons themselves play great. I actually wouldn't change these buttons out because of the natural aesthetics and LEDs and things. Exactly.
Yeah, I wouldn't change them out either. And sound, obviously, when you're in the heat of a match, you're not going to pay any mind to the sound of what your buttons are making. It's all about the feel, and they feel good.
Now, your opponent might be listening to the sound of it. That's something we've talked about previously, is, are they listening to hear if you're trying to wake up DP? Are you, matching your buttons? They can take advantage of those things. So they do have a noise to them, right? But it doesn't have like that tingy click that a Sanwa does.
Right.
So they can still hear it. It's not like a silence button or anything like that. But they still feel good.
Yeah, no, they feel great. The stick, no problems there. The spring might be a little too loose for me. I'm still trying to find my personal balance between a 2 and the 4 is way too much. A 2 is a little loose for me.
It sounds like 3 would be the way to go.
Did they make it 3?
I think you can buy those.
Yeah, so I might try that out.
Yeah, I use a 2-pound as well. Again, I'm a super heavy-handed player, so I like to have a little extra resistance, and I like that snap back to center. Other people, like Slasher Flick, actually likes it very loose because he likes to very much control where it's at.
Yeah,
all
he's
times.
very...
So it's just a preferential thing, right? And we always encourage you guys to try different setups. Maybe you like a really rigid spring. It'd be worth it to try. I feel like this one out of the box actually has a little bit of tightness to it, which feels pretty good.
Right.
You can see that it snaps back, and there's not a whole lot of too much shake, which could cause accidental inputs in the wrong situation.
Yep. So back to the build quality really quick. You can see, obviously, this has a very translucent look to it that reminds me personally of the Nintendo 64 old school,
the green and the red.
The green and the red and the purple and stuff. What are your thoughts on that? Because I am kind of leaning towards I don't think I care for it much on this stick. The center plate I actually think is awesome. It's kind of got the mirrored kanji and stuff like that. It's very sexy, very slick. But then the plastic, I don't know if I like it very much.
So it's a molded plastic. It's got almost like a little bit of like a knurled plastic to it. So it's got a little grip to it.
That's a good word.
You like that? Now, it's like a solid molded piece that they have here, and then there's just a back plate on here like you'd find like with the Hori or the Obsidian, just a normal metal plate that goes along with it. This feels pretty rugged. I could see a bad drop causing an ugly crack across it or something
most
like
certainly.
that.
Yeah.
Because it is a one molded piece.
Yeah, it's not the lightest stick. Like, it's not super heavy, but it's
deceivingly heavy.
It's heavier than you think it is based on looking at it.
Right. So in terms of like this initial clear panel here with all of the aesthetics, I love it. And absolutely, like, I think it's perfect. You know how much we all love the Japanese aesthetics around this office.
Weird.
But when it comes to this, I'm kind of on the fence. I like it. I feel like maybe there's something that could match it just a little bit better. I'm not sure what it would be. Like, if it was just like a brushed aluminum, I'd be like, man, that thing is sexy.
Totally.
But I don't have any beef with it. I think it's quality in terms of like how well it's built. It's a rigid plastic, so like it's pretty solid.
And I think actually a lot of you in the comments when we did the unboxing said you didn't care much for the see-through either. So I'll be interested to see what you think if you get your hands on it.
Right.
Now, aside from that, feature-wise, you know, it's pretty standard. Buttons, turbo included, which we now know what turbo is used for.
I like turbo if you're doing like a shooting game or something like that. We always approach these from a fight stick angle in terms of like fighting games. So turbo is highly ineffective for us, but like somebody mentioned, they played Metal Slug. If I was playing like Galaga, if I'm playing Metal Slug or something.
Which we never really thought about until someone said that in the comments. I was like, oh yeah.
Right,
okay,
then it would be absolutely optimal. It's got several modes for the LED, so if you don't like the LEDs that are there, you can turn them off or you can turn them all the way on. They're only blue. Now, with the Obsidian, we talked about this. It has the LEDs on the side, and it's very much like in kind of an ambient light. It's a very ambiance type thing.
Yeah, you wouldn't even notice it unless you're playing like a darker room.
These, we were actually just playing in a dark room when we were doing some of the recording for this. You don't see them out of the corner of your eye. If it bothers your opponent, great. I hope they see it. Like, that'd be fantastic. Yeah. But like, I still don't think it's obnoxious or anything. Like,
I think it's actually really cool. I think
of LEDs.
Like the Mad Catz TE2, the Killer Instinct version that came out with KI2 or KI3, whatever. Those were, I was so in love with them, and I was so sad I didn't get a chance to get them. I actually had thought about modding.
Really expensive stick still.
Yeah, and I had thought about modding my TE2 to match that stick, but I just haven't gotten around to it. So I actually love LED buttons. I think they're super slick.
Somebody actually asked us on stream the other day, like, what are your thoughts on LED? You know, I've got them in one of my sticks. They're in this one. They're a little difficult, I think, to add aftermarket, you know, because you have to go buy a set and then you have to create it and plug it in. This is just plug and play. So for the price point, you're not going to find another stick at $150 that comes with an LED set in there.
Yeah, and it's not a cheesy LED set. It's like very nice.
It's super receptive to the touch. So they only go off when you touch them unless you keep them all the way on.
Yeah.
And there's one even in here too. So you definitely want to have a clear dust ring so you can see the magic and the wonder.
The magic of your DPs.
Yeah.
And just like the rest of the Qanba lineup, your cable is hardwired in. Some people prefer
not removable, so you can't do that. You got the nice long cable, the rule.
I'm thinking 8-9 feet probably.
Yeah, it's
standard.
I'm sure it says on the box, but it's plenty long enough to you can play from across the room if you needed to.
Fits in this.
We were just playing off the couch; it worked just fine. The other thing is the
drawer,
the hatch, if you will. Now, people hate them. Right, I'll just get it right out of the way. People hate hatches, and that's because they don't have a great track record. They break off like crazy. The Hori one, it seems like it's his job to break off. Well, they want you to snap it off.
I'll speak for him because he's not here with us at the moment, but Boss Bottle Gordy is not a fan of it. I guess even within his first few minutes of the stick, he forgot to close it and went to set it down, and it's going to break off. Like, if you're not careful with it, it's gone. It's a goner.
Now, there is one feature they added to that I like, and that is the magnets.
Yeah.
A lot of times, it's just the plastic mold like you'd find on the back of your TV remote or whatever, where you have to push down the little tab and pull it out. Those wear out like crazy, and then it just flops open. Eventually, you end up just taking it off yourself. They went with magnets here, and I really like that because it seems like it has a nice latch to it.
It does.
But I think it's going to last longer than like a Hori door. It's not going to be a perfect system. Eventually that might fall off as well.
Right.
It's not going to impact the play of the stick. You could rip it off right now and still be perfectly tournament ready. Same thing with the handle that they
got a little briefcase thing going on here.
Styling.
Because you're going to work on your foe.
That's right. Punch the clock, baby. So that's cool. And they put magnets on there as well, so that it locks down. It doesn't pop open or anything when you're sitting there trying to play.
Yeah, I actually like this quite a bit.
And we talked about it.
I'm not a big fan of the way it looks, but I like the feature of it. It just it feels cool just carrying it around like a briefcase.
And there's plenty of heavier sticks that don't have a really good way to carry them.
Yeah.
You know, so this actually offers that. And like we said, this one is a little bit weightier than, like, say, like just a stock Hori, for example.
Right.
There's also non-skid pads on the back. Adam, Ronin, show them the non-skid pads.
Boom! Non-skid.
As you guys saw in the Obsidian mod review, we added more non-skid.
Click that little thing up there.
My baby's got traction.
It does.
Traction.
How's that working out?
All right.
Is it good?
Perfect.
Yeah.
It's perfect.
See,
yeah.
Guys, hardware store, like $4.
Yeah, it was like $4. Top with tax and everything out the door.
Right.
Free and clear. I own it. It's mine now.
Now, before you ask us in the comments, no, we're not going to mod this because this is actually not our stick to mod.
Right.
And I think he likes it just the way it is, so it'll probably stay as is, but you could mod it. Now, if you wanted to mod it, how easy would that be, would you say?
So you'd have to peel off the back panel, and then this is going to have one thing that's a little different than the other sticks that you've maybe done in the past, and that's going to be the LEDs to work around. So there's going to be separate wiring and such for that. I feel like, and everybody always likes to disagree, I feel like if you're purchasing this stick, you're purchasing this stick. You kind of want it for these looks, that kind of a thing.
Sure. And I think that's why they gave you like this fancy little faceplate type of deal.
Exactly.
And,
they definitely added a lot of aesthetics to it, and they added, you know, the mirror edge with the LED is going to be more reflective. It's got a really cool design to it.
Yeah.
I think if you look at this stick and you feel like, I just hate the look of it, it's just not the stick for you, right? We've reviewed other ones, other things from the Qanba line that might fit your stylings a little bit more.
Yeah.
Even.
And even so, like, there are other sticks in this price point from other manufacturers that you may prefer, such as, case in point, the RAV4 Kai from Hori.
Exactly.
Which is its closest competitor as far as we know.
Right. So I would have, personally, no qualms whatsoever with placing this on my shelf and using this stick, you know, having my buddies use it when they come over.
Yeah.
I think it's an excellent stick. I think it's a really great purchase. It's probably just not going to be the one that you're spending a lot of time modding compared to like a TE2 where you're almost never going to leave it stock.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm looking at this faceplate here. I'm thinking, we haven't cracked this open, by the way. We haven't looked inside, so we're not really sure where screws are. It looks like it's removable, so if you have some sort of crafting capabilities and you want to create your own plastic covering, it's probably decently easy to remove this and replace it with something you make, but it's not the same as a TE2 where you take it to Kinko's and get something printed out. This is like a piece of plastic you would have to paint or mod or however you would do
and
that.
it'd probably be very similar to like Focus Attack has their Plexi service where you would have to add in your own screws into the metal plate.
Right.
So it's not going to just be like, oh, I just bought it, I'm going to put some new art on it and call it my own. That's going to be a little bit different than that. So like I said, if you like the aesthetics of this, I hope you really like them, because I think that's what you're going to be basically using on this guy for a long time. That's not a bad thing to me.
No, not at all.
Now, this guy at $149.99, its nearest competitor is going to be the Hori RAV4. So we are going to do a shootout video because we're going to kind of talk about some of the comparisons between the two. You can see them side by side. We'll talk a little bit more about the size and the weight at that point. Some people like the more compact size of the RAV4. This one actually has a big body to it like a TE2. So those are things we're going to cover. And before you ask if you want us to do the new Razor stick, just you can get our shipping information and have it sent right over whenever you'd like.
Exactly.
Yeah.
There are a lot of requests for a lot of sticks you guys want us to see, and we would love to do the new Razor stick. We don't have the means to get it, so if it is sent to us, we will review it, but at this time we do not have plans unless we can work something out with Razor. They have not returned our calls.
They have not. And you might have questions on those things. And where would they ask those questions?
Well, there's a few different places they can do that, Tim and DJ Combo. They can do that in the comments.
Right down below.
Right down below.
That's a pretty easy one because you're already here.
Clearly. The thing is we're pretty active on Twitter, you and I, so you could also...
I would highly suggest following us because that's of course going to have other content as well that we're going to talk about, which would lead to the subscribe button.
Subscribe.
Yeah.
It's right up there, guys. Please give us a subscribe there, and then go ahead and check us out on patreon.com/R24 if you would like to support us even further and help us acquire new things for you to review and things like that.